Alright everybody, welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about information related to quartiles of a data set. A few little definitions and vocabulary issues that we need to take care of up front. First of all, we all need to know what we're talking about when we talk about the first quartile. And the first quartile is also known as, Q1 with a little subscript 1. We'll see it written like that. We'll see it called quartile 1. Sometimes we even see it referred to as the lower quartile. But what the first quartile is it's a point in the data set that's bigger than 25% of the data in the set. So if you think about what's going on with quartile 1, you've got quartile 1 here, 25% of the data is below it, and 75% of the data is above it. This will come in handy for us later. In order to find the first quartile, what we will do is we will first find the median of the data set, and then the first quartile is the median of all of the numbers that are below the median. So we'll find the median, and then we'll just look at the numbers that are below that, and then we'll find the median of that group, and that's the first quartile. Alright, next we've got the third quartile, also known as Q with a subscript 3, Q3, quartile 3, or it's sometimes called the upper quartile. This is a point in a data set that is larger than 75% of the data in the set. So when we have Q3, 75% of the data is down here below Q3, and 25% of the data is here above Q3. In order to find the third quartile, what we do is we find the median of all the numbers above the median of the data set. So we've found the median, we focus only on the numbers that are above the median, and then we find the median of that list, and that will be the third quartile. And then the last term that we're going to talk about today, we haven't talked about yet, is the interquartile range. And all the interquartile range is, think back to when we found range of a data set. We took the maximum minus the minimum. When we talk about the interquartile range, we're talking about the range between the quartiles. So we're going to take the bigger quartile minus the smaller quartile. And that's going to give us what's known as our interquartile range. Alright, let's look at a couple of examples based on these concepts. First data set, we're going to find the median, the quartiles, and the interquartile range for this data set. And you'll notice that this data set is already written in order from smallest to biggest, which we need it to be in order to identify the median and the quartiles. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the median. And so I go in and count my way into the middle of this data set. And this number right here, 25, is the median. Okay, so my median is 25. And now to find the quartiles and the IQR, that's a really bad 3. To find quartile 1, I'm only looking at the data that is below the median. So the median is exactly at 25. So I'm looking at these data points below the median, and I'm going to find the middle number in that list. So again, I go and I count my way in, and I find that this number right here is quartile 1. So quartile 1 is 7. I'm going to do the same thing, only on the other side, to find quartile 3. We count our way into the middle of that list, and we see that this number right here is quartile 3. And then the last thing I'm going to do to find the IQR, all I do is I take quartile 3 minus quartile 1, and so the interquartile range in this data set is 24. Alright, easy enough. Let's look at the next example. Alright, again, our data is already written in increasing order for us here. If it wasn't, we'd have to go ahead and put the data values in increasing order. And so now we're going to find first our median, and then we'll find our quartiles, and then we'll find our interquartile range. Alright, so we count our way into the middle to find the median. And what happens here is we have two numbers that are splitting the middle, so the median is going to be in between them. And so in order to find the median, I'm going to take the average of those two, and the median is going to be 23.5. Now, since the median is between those numbers, when we go to find the first quartile, the 22 is going to be part of our list of numbers that we look in to find the first quartile. So now we want to find the median of that list. And we count our way in. And again, we have two numbers that split the middle, 16 and 18. And so now in order to find quartile 1, just like I did with the median, when I have two numbers that split a quartile, I'm going to add the two together and divide by 2 to find their average. And so quartile 1 is 17. And then we'll look at the numbers above the median. Again, 25 is above the median. And so we'll count our way in on these. And we see that these two numbers split the quartile. And so quartile 3 is going to be the average of those two. And that's going to be 30.5. And now to find the IQR, again, all I do is take quartile 3 minus quartile 1, and so my interquartile range here is going to be 13.5. Alright, one more problem in today's video. Alright, we know the following information about a data set: that quartile 1 is 15, median is 24, and quartile 3 is 37. And what happens, because we know these values, we can set up a little relationship here, where we've got quartile 1, we've got the median, and we've got quartile 3. And 25% of the data is below quartile 1, and 25% of the data is between the quartile and the median, because 50% of the data is below the median, and 25% of the data is between the median and quartile 3, and 25% of the data is above quartile 3. This is why the quartiles are nice for us. It divides, along with the median, it divides our data set into 4 chunks that each contain 25% of the data. So, to answer these questions, what percentage of the data set is between 15 and 24? So that's between quartile 1 and the median. And so 25% of our data is in between those two values. The interquartile range, easy enough. All I do is take quartile 3 minus quartile 1. So the interquartile range is 22. And then the last question here, what percentage of the data set is above 37? 37 is quartile 3. So 25% of the data is above that. And you can use this relationship that the quartiles and the median split the data set into 25% chunks to identify how much of a data set is above the quartile 1 or above the median or below the median. There's a wide variety of questions that I could answer utilizing this concept. All right? So use those when you need to. Okay, that's the end of this video and the end of this section. So see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day.